Inside PressBox is presented by Freedmont Mortgage. Don't make a 30-year mistake by choosing the wrong lender. Go to Freedmont.com now for all of your mortgage needs. And welcome to another edition of Inside PressBox. I'm your host, Stan the Fan Charles. As we've been promoting the past several weeks, the Shootout Soldiers event was held last week, and it was a huge success. The event, which benefited the Wounded Warrior Project, not only set an unofficial record, but also raised a lot of money for the project. This week, we'll hear from Adam Silva, the Chief Development Officer for the Wounded Warrior Project, about how the event helped their cause. Plus, if you've ever wanted to experience a true Western-style rodeo, now's your chance. The Rough Stock Rumble is returning to Westminster June 30th and July the 1st. This week, I'll be joined by the organizer of the event, Butch Groft, along with local bull rider Will Brunke to talk about the rodeo. But our first guest did not ride a bronco, but he had a remarkable turnaround season which led to the Towson Tigers winning 9 out of their 12 games, running 7-1 in the Colonial, and winning the CAA championship. With me now is our guest, Rob Ambrose, who's become a good friend over the past few years. And Rob, you look a little more relaxed than you did a couple years ago when I would have you in here. Not that my questions were hard or that controversial, but you look like you know you belong now.
Well, after you had a season where you only won one game the previous year, sitting in this chair was a little more difficult. You know, after winning the conference championship and having the opportunity to have the success we did last year, the shoes fit a little bit better.
You know, I've watched coaches for a long time. I've interviewed them for a long time, and I look at the records. It's almost like an actuarial table. If you have a coach that has like a 3-18 record for 2 years, something like that, the chances of them ultimately being successful doesn't mean that they're bad coaches. It just doesn't happen a lot of times. I mean, I don't think John Wooden was 3-18 when he started coaching, or Bill Belichick. Maybe I'm wrong.
Depends on the program, depends on the situation, and everyone's different. And I'm always going to take exception with basketball versus football in the comparisons, because having 10 guys versus 100 is a lot harder to change the mindset and the culture. But there were some dark nights in the first 2 years, and
well, we talked about that on past occasions, and your wife was the one that was really there for you.
She was. She was there for me. She actually, one of the darker nights, and I said, you know, by the time we get this thing turned around, my win-loss record's not going to be very good. And she hit me in the back of the head, and she said, you didn't come back here for a win-loss record. You came to make a difference and turn the program around. It's not about the numbers, it's about what you leave behind. And she was right.
Now, you had this great season. It was a remarkable season. It was capped off by playoffs, and then that great banquet back in March, was it?
That's
was it
correct.
March?
I believe so.
April or early April, where all the players got their rings and everything like that. Talk to me about the toughest part of sustaining that success, because it's one thing to jump to that level. It's a very different ball game sustaining it.
From a coach's perspective, it's not hard at all, because in your mind, if you're not winning, you're losing, you know what I mean? And it's a daily thing. But for a lot of the kids, especially the younger kids, they're walking in the door to a successful team. I said this a lot at the end of the season. Imagine being a true freshman, not a football player, an athlete in any way. Imagine being a true freshman at Towson University, where you think your football team is 1,000 times better than the University of Maryland's. And their pride in their institution now is something that these kids have never even heard of before. It's really exciting. But for the young guys, they have to look at what's been done and they have to try to better it instead of just accepting it. But there is a way we do things now that is the beginning of the positive foundation to be able to do this over and over and over again.
Do you have an anecdote or a story where one of your older guys has sort of gotten into somebody's grill a little bit, or just shown them the right way we do this here at Towson now?
Oh, yeah, but not meant for TV.
All right.
We've had, the 6 months after the season and not being able to have the banquet directly after because of the playoffs and all the things that went along with that, which is a very exciting time for everybody involved. The kids actually, kept hearing how great they were and trying to get back into the groove of a hungry work ethic, and I'll steal it from Under Armour. Humble and hungry is a heck of a way to be, and good thing they're our partner. So it's taken a while, but we are back on track, and I wouldn't like to wear another color uniform out on our practice field right now. Our guys might, well, again, that's not meant for TV either.
Now, you did not have total control of the schedule you have, but you have a unique situation this year. You don't play just that big payday in LSU down in Louisiana. You have another Division I game that you open the season with against Kent State. We know what those games are sort of for. They bring a lot of money to your program. From the opponent's perspective, they're meant to be pushovers in some way. You're not approaching that first game on August 30th in Kent State like you're a pushover.
In the history of our program, at the Division I level, we really haven't had enough scholarships to go play these games. There's rules and regulations that allow you to do this, and Navy before I got here, Northwestern, Indiana, and last year was Maryland. And teaching the culture change and how important everything is and that you really can win any game was shown in the Maryland game last year, that we were competing.
You came a couple plays away from winning.
Exactly. So our guys now, they respect everybody, but they're not afraid of anyone anymore. So we're going to take every game as it comes, and I can't even tell you the schedule after Kent State because that's the only one on my mind.
What the injury factor? I know you had a real good team this year, and you haven't made it an excuse, but you got banged up late in the year. Is that one of the big differences between Towson and Kent State or the University of Maryland, just sheer numbers?
At the higher level, they have 85 full scholarships. We have 63. So, that may not look like a big number difference, but you're talking about immediate backups who are almost of the same age, same size, same strength. We were a young team to begin with when 4 out of 5 of our offensive linemen are sophomores. If one of those guys gets hurt, you're calling the guy selling hot dogs to see if he can take some snaps for a game. So it's a little difficult challenge, but we always find a way.
Speaking of difficult challenges, I have to ask you this, and it's a bit of a curveball, but we talked about it before. We've been trying to get Charlie Toomey in, whose Loyola Greyhounds lacrosse team won a national championship. He's been unable to come in for a variety of reasons, not the least of which was the loss of one of his players. I think it's Adam Ponder.
I think that's right.
Passed away. Can you imagine, A, losing a player, B, going through what Charlie's gone through on his level, trying to win a championship, doing it, and within 14 days of that, suffering a loss to your gut like that?
The highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows in such a short period of time. And it's not about the wins and losses. It's not about when you get into it this long and you create a family. It's an adopted decision to be part of this family for a common cause. And it's puzzle pieces that fit together. To lose one of those, to lose a family member, there are no words. There truly aren't. And the championship goes away.
Everything
goes away.
Yeah.
It's all about family.
Rob, thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
First game, August 30th against Kent State. It's going to be an exciting season out there at Towson. Don't go away. Coming up, I'll be joined by local bull rider Will Brunke and Butch Groft of Buckwild Rodeo Company. Plus, we'll look back at the shootout for soldiers. That's next on Inside PressBox. PressBox writer Tim Richardson takes you inside the world of sports business with the PressBox Sports Business Report, sponsored by Natty Bow Gear, only at PressBoxOnline.com.